What if discipline could transform you into someone so relentless, so untouchable, that people whisper you must be insane? Sounds extreme, right? But history has already shown us it's possible. Miyamoto Musashi, the undefeated samurai who walked away from over 60 duels without a single loss, discovered a path so ruthless, so uncompromising, that it carved his name into legend. In his timeless book, The Five Rings, he didn't just write about combat techniques. He revealed a philosophy, a way of living, that can turn any ordinary man into a force of nature, a storm no one can stop. So here's the challenge. Are you ready to step into his 5 brutal lessons and reshape yourself into something unrecognizable? Because Musashi's wisdom is not comfortable. It's not gentle. It's sharp like a blade, and it cuts straight through the illusions you cling to. The very first step begins with what he called the Earth Ring. And what does the Earth Ring demand? Brutal honesty. No lies. No excuses. If you want to become disciplined, the very first thing you must do is stop lying to yourself. Think about it. Most people live their lives inside a fog of self-deception. They convince themselves they're working hard, that they're busy, that they're chasing something meaningful. But peel back the curtain, and the truth is uglier. Musashi's Earth Ring is like a cold slap across the face. It forces you to confront where you really stand. Without filters, without soft words. He illustrated it with an image so clear you can't forget it. In the construction of houses, choice of woods is made. Straight, unknotted timber of good appearance is used for the revealed pillars, while knotted timber is used for the inner structure. Translation: you cannot build anything strong, anything lasting, until you first see exactly what you're working with, flaws and all. If you ignore the cracks in your foundation, the whole house eventually collapses. Now picture this. Marcus, 32 years old, stuck in a desk job. He tells himself he's grinding, putting in the work, but here's his reality. He wakes up at 8 a.m., scrolls on social media for nearly an hour, drags himself to the office late, and spends most of his day bouncing between emails and cat videos. By evening, he's drained, not from true effort, but from empty distraction. Sound familiar? Eventually, Marcus decided to track every single minute of his day for 1 week. What he discovered was devastating. Just like Musashi, who once locked himself inside a cave for 2 years after his duel with Sasaki Kojira, dissecting every detail of his near failure, Marcus forced himself into that same ruthless self-scrutiny. The results were undeniable. 5 hours a day lost to his phone. Only 3 hours of real focused work, and endless mental noise. He wasn't busy. He wasn't grinding. He was shackled to distraction, a prisoner in his own routine. That is the savage beauty of the Earth Ring. It strips away your illusions. It demands that you know every crack in your foundation, every weakness you've been pretending doesn't exist. Musashi never sugar-coated it. For him, the way of the warrior was a resolute acceptance of death, and in the realm of discipline, that means something just as terrifying: the death of your ego. Because only when the ego dies can the disciplined self be born. And this is just the beginning. If you thought the Earth Ring was harsh, wait until you see the next lesson, where Musashi's fire burns even hotter. And once you've accepted the truth, what comes next? That's where the second lesson begins. The water ring. Most people, like Marcus, think they can overhaul their lives overnight. They set alarms for 5 a.m., design schedules packed with 3-hour gym sessions, and swear they'll never touch their phone again. But what happens by day 3? Burnout, collapse, back to square one, only now with more self-loathing. Musashi's water ring shows us the opposite. Stop fighting reality like a fool. Water doesn't smash through a rock in one violent blow. It flows around it, again and again, until the stone itself wears down. Over time, the impossible becomes inevitable. Musashi wrote, "Water adopts the shape of its receptacle." This doesn't mean weakness. It means intelligence. It's not about surrendering, it's about adapting. About persistence that bends without breaking. Marcus had to learn this lesson the hard way. His attempt at a perfect schedule collapsed almost instantly. He forced himself awake at 5 a.m., but his body screamed for rest. He planned 90-minute workouts, but quit after 15. He wanted transformation, but all he got was exhaustion. The water ring saved him. Instead of demanding overnight perfection, he started smaller, just 15 minutes earlier than usual. 10 push-ups, 20 minutes of focused work before a break. Pathetic? Maybe, but progress is never pathetic. By the second week, he had doubled it. 20 push-ups, 40 minutes of focus without collapse. And that's exactly how Musashi himself trained. He didn't begin with steel swords dripping with danger. He began with wooden ones, mastering the basics until his hands moved like instinct. Only then did he step into duels that risked blood and death. The water ring reminds us, growth is not force. It is flow. Bruce Lee once said it perfectly. Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to endure a difficult one. And that is the essence of the water ring. It isn't about chasing perfection in one heroic burst. It's about persistence, about showing up again and again until progress becomes inevitable. Think about it. Can't read a book a week? Then read a page a day. Can't run a mile? Then walk a block. Each step matters, no matter how small. Why? Because your brain is already expecting you to fail. That's the trap. But when you begin stacking tiny victories, you trick your mind, you rewire it, teaching yourself that success is your new default. Marcus lived this firsthand. At first, he thought his 20-minute work sessions were laughable, almost pathetic compared to what he should be doing. But every time he completed one, he felt a surge, a rush of energy that came not from social media likes, but from genuine progress, dopamine tied to growth, not distraction. And that small rush changed everything. By the end of just 1 month, Marcus was no longer forcing himself awake. He rose naturally at 6 a.m., his body attuned to the new rhythm. His workouts stretched to half an hour. His focused work sessions expanded to 3 full hours of deep, undisturbed effort, and none of it felt like punishment. He wasn't dragging himself forward, he was flowing into it. That's the secret. Stop trying to be a hero. Be water. Flow may not look glamorous. It isn't loud, it isn't flashy, but it is relentless, and over time, nothing can resist it. And yet, once progress begins, a new challenge always appears. Because persistence feels incredible, until it doesn't. Until the fire arrives. The fire ring. Marcus had momentum. He was winning his mornings, crushing workouts, hitting work sessions with razor-sharp focus. But then came the comparison. He noticed a coworker, half his age, pulling all-nighters, closing deals Marcus couldn't even dream of. And in an instant, the fire lit inside him. Anger, envy, self-doubt. I'm a failure, he told himself. He skipped his next workout. Then another. The spiral had begun. This is where most people burn out. The fire ring. But Musashi understood something most never do. Fire doesn't have to consume you. It can be directed. He wrote, "The spirit of fire is fierce. Whether the fire be small or big, it's not about avoiding anger. It's about aiming it." Musashi knew this intimately. His father died when he was only 7, leaving him with nothing but rage. But instead of collapsing under the weight of it, he funneled it, day after day, 14 hours of training. Every sword swing wasn't just practice, it was defiance. A declaration against his pain. That was the fire ring in motion. And Marcus had to learn the same. One night, staring in the mirror, ready to brand himself a loser, he caught himself. He flipped the script. "I'm not staying this way." From then on, he built a ritual. Each night, he wrote down everything that angered him. Missed a workout, ate garbage food, got lost scrolling when he should have been working. But he didn't stop there. He turned every frustration into a mission. Mad about doing only 20 push-ups? Tomorrow, make it 25. Angry about scrolling? Tomorrow, the phone stays off during work hours. This wasn't toxic positivity. It wasn't about pretending everything was fine. It was about harnessing rage, turning destructive energy into fuel. As Nietzsche once said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." And with that, Marcus's growth exploded. His workouts stretched to 45 minutes. His deep work blocks expanded to 4 solid hours. Fire no longer burned him down. It forged him. Marcus's deep work stretched into 4 full hours, not because he suddenly discovered some hidden well of motivation, but because he stopped wasting his fire on self-hatred. Instead, he began to burn away his mediocrity. That's the secret of the fire ring. Anger, when pointed at the mirror, destroys you, but when aimed at the problem, it becomes a weapon. The fire ring doesn't just keep you moving forward, it makes you dangerous. And then came the next lesson. 4. Stay hungry, never satisfied. The wind ring. 3 months into his journey, Marcus was almost unrecognizable. He woke up at 5:30 a.m. without an alarm. He could push out 50 clean push-ups in a row. His work sessions stretched into 5 laser-focused hours. To outsiders, it looked extreme. Friends whispered behind his back, "What's wrong with him? Why is he pushing himself like this?" But success carries its own trap. Because when the wind blows, it doesn't only lift you up, it whispers. 2. And one day, Marcus heard it. "You're good enough now. Ease up." At first, it seemed harmless. He skipped tracking his time. Then he missed one workout. Then another. Before long, the hunger that had carried him this far began to fade. That's the danger of the wind ring. The illusion of arrival. The false belief that the journey is over. Musashi warned of this centuries ago. He wrote, "In the way of strategy, do not think you have arrived." At 50 years old, after 60 undefeated duels, he still called himself a student. Why? Because the moment you think you've mastered everything, you're already slipping, even at the height of his skill. Musashi studied other schools of swordsmanship, not to mock them, but to stay sharp. He knew the real enemy wasn't out there with a blade. The real enemy was the quiet voice inside saying, "I'm good enough." Marcus learned this lesson the hard way. What began as a few skipped workouts turned into an entire week of regression. In just days, he lost 30% of the progress he had built, all because he listened to that whisper. The wind ring demands humility. It demands that you remain a student forever. So Marcus created a new rule for himself. Every month, he would seek out someone better. a mentor, a colleague, even a stranger on social media who was crushing it. He would study them, compare their discipline to his own, and let that discomfort push him forward. Because discomfort is a teacher. It keeps you hungry. It reminds you that there is always another level. As the saying goes, the first step is to establish that something is possible. Then, probability will occur. That is the essence of the wind ring. It keeps you chasing possibility, not settling for what is merely probable. It demands curiosity. It demands that you stay unsatisfied, inadequate, forever growing. And yet, even hunger has its limits. Because when you've trained your body, sharpened your mind, and pushed through fire and wind, a deeper realization comes. Discipline is not a mountain you climb once. It is a horizon that always stretches further. And that is where Marcus finally met the last lesson. 5. Embrace the eternal war. The void ring. 6 months in, Marcus hit a wall, not a physical one, but an existential one. He realized something terrifying. Discipline isn't a destination. It's a war without end. The thought made him sick. So this is it? I'll track my time forever? Fight laziness forever? That despair nearly broke him. One night, exhausted, Marcus found himself ready to quit. When does it end? He asked. And then the truth hit him like a blade. It doesn't. The void ring is Musashi's final and most profound lesson. It's the one that separates warriors from quitters. He wrote, "In the void is virtue and no evil. The void is not emptiness, it is acceptance. The acceptance that discipline never gets easier. You simply become stronger." Musashi embodied this. Beyond his duels, he painted, wrote calligraphy, meditated, not because he was chasing a finish line, but because this is what warriors do. Discipline was not a project with an end date. It was a way of living. Marcus understood. He stopped chasing the illusion of an endpoint. Instead, he asked himself each morning, what's today's battle? A missed workout? Then tomorrow. It's a double session. A distracted workday? Tomorrow. The phone stays off. And then came the paradox. When you finally embrace the eternal war, it stops feeling like war. It becomes your nature. Like breathing. Musashi put it best. Today is victory over yourself of yesterday. The 5 rings, Earth's truth, water's flow, fire's fury, wind's hunger, and void's acceptance, are not steps toward a finish line. They are a cycle, a way of living, a path that makes you so disciplined people call you crazy. And deep down, you'll know they aren't wrong. You've simply chosen to live like a warrior in a world of sleepwalkers. The rings are calling. The question is, will you answer? Thank you for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.